Thank you. Oh, how are you tonight? How are you tonight? Oh, it's so good to see you tonight. So good to see you tonight. My name is Daniel Bernard Roumain, DBR, and welcome to your home. You feel good tonight? You good to be at home tonight? It's good to see you. It really is. Ooh. So what can I tell you? A black man in America, this is my weapon of choice, you dig? I'm with you, I need you. I think I might even love you, all right? But we're gonna earn that. This is Bernadette, 6-string violin. There's a black Nubian queen inscribed in the peg box. On the back, inscribed, literally is the name Bernadette, my mother's middle name. And I'm thinking about her right now. She's in her room. Now, 6 years ago, we lost. I lost my father. She lost her husband. And with vascular dementia setting in, she's losing her mind and her memories. But I can tell you where she is right now. She's in the solace of her bedroom. A candle lit, Virgin Mary hanging on the wall, and pictures all around. She's already done Mass today, standing up each time, EWTN, watching it on the TV. A devout woman, religious in every way. And I like to think in her room right now, like a room we're in right now, she's thinking about things. She doesn't even know we're talking about her, right? Simone Olivier Roumain. Names are important. And I think about Simone Olivier all the time. On my fingers right now is her middle name, Bernadette. Names are important, and I want to share names with you tonight because my friends and family are here. Adele, Rachel, Caress, Saza, Weezy, Rellian, Malena, Jordan, and a post-performance discussion with Courtenay and Jedd. We're together, we're in this together. Can I get an amen? Can I get a hallelujah? Found God tonight just a few minutes ago in the dressing room. So don't sit back. Don't relax. Listen with your whole body. Open your heart. I know where your mind's at. Let it all go. We come down heavy. Want to hear from you at the end. We're in this together. Let's begin. The first one. Let's begin with Adele.
Sing out, sing for the world. Won't you raise up your hands to the sky? It's your freedom, free to be heard. Won't you sing out, sing for the world?
The world, I fear, is oftentimes not ready for what it needs. We've learned to harbor our hugs from one another and spar through computer screens. And while beauty takes time to blossom, well, we prefer it fast. Believe our worth is what our bank account says, even though the money won't last. We allow the opinions of others to shadow our own intellect. We refuse to move for fear they'll reject us and show us no respect. But are we not artists? Do we not flourish in misunderstanding? Are we not windows to reality? Have we not been armed with the talent to change hearts, minds, and empires? For we take the photos of the past, create the soundtracks of our society, and we dance to the beat of our democracy. And when faced with the decision to cower or create, we must create. Create our way out of a confusing situation. Break down barriers with our creation. A painter doesn't feel pain and is afraid to paint it. We cannot want for change and be afraid to change it. So go. Smell the sweet aroma. Oh, but also let your hairs raise to its sour stench. Dance on top of the mountain in its moonlight, but don't you dare be afraid of its ditch. Swim in its waters and bake in its sun. Feel its drum beat and sing to its strum.
Sing out, sing for the world. Won't you raise up your hands to the sky? It's your freedom, free to be heard. Won't you sing out, sing for the world?
In life, there exists a parallel between what propels us forward and that which holds us back. It's hard to know the difference between taking a leap, walking through a door, or staying on track. In fact, stress, anxiety, and excitement and fear, well, they all live here. But what is fear if we do not use it as fuel to fight? What is a sharp wit if we do not use it as knife? We say, why create for fear they won't appreciate our creation? Forget their opinions, our country cannot survive off of information. We need the artists to help us feel again, to peek behind triumphs and pain and heal within. We need artists who aren't afraid to push the limits of tradition, jump in uncharted seas for the mission. Those who swim 1,000 miles before they reach the shore, just to storm the castle and say, we can't take it anymore. You will hear what we have to say.
Sing out, sing for the world.
Whether we spit, play, move, or spray, listen. Pay attention because you cannot miss this. The revolution is now. And we are no longer just its artists, we are also its activists. So go. Smell the sweet aroma. Oh, but also let your hairs raise to its sour stench. Dance on top of the mountain in its moonlight, but don't you dare be afraid of its ditch. Swim in its waters and bake in its sun. Feel its drum beat and sing to its strum. Ain't no sunshine when she's only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home anytime she goes away. We sat at lunchroom tables with the same friends since we were 6, exchanging stories of childhood while trading celery for carrot sticks. Y'all, I remember slumber parties and engaging in pillow fights. You remember practicing your dance for the talent show just to make sure you got every move right. I spent hours trying to decide who to invite to my sweet 16. My best friend didn't eat for a week because she didn't make prom queen. But you know, it's funny how our problems don't really compare to real ones, and yet we think we have something to complain about. Until the news on Channel 5 is reporting live. A young woman was just found dead in her home today after authorities say she took her own life and the life of 3 others. Officers say the young girl who was bullied at school is survived by her sister and mother. She leaves this as her last Facebook post. Today is the day that you will finally recognize me. I'm tired of fading to black, just another breathing entity. Y'all, I ate in the bathroom because your stares were too much to endure. I wore baggy clothes because your comments about my weight made me insecure. And it's not enough to subside the pain with mere slices of skin. I must go deeper to erase the pain within. Y'all, I look in the mirror and I see someone that I hate. Someone that you hate, so why wait? Why continue to be the thorn in the world's side? So this is my final goodbye. I'm sorry for being too fat to notice. I'm sorry for being too weird to speak to. And I'm sorry for taking up the space that you so graciously deserve. So congratulations. I know you didn't make prom queen, but at least you made the royal court. I heard your dance for the talent show went well, even though they cut your performance short. And even though I never ate lunch with you guys, I hope your lunch tastes good. You see, all I ever had was some pretzels, but I would trade that if I could. And I'd send you all an invitation, but I know you won't come. So here's to the best slumber party ever. Just me. Oh my God! See, somehow now our problems don't seem as big. Y'all, we have this habit of noticing the boisterous bad ones, but we ignore the back of the room type kids. We give props to the president of student council. We give pats on the back to the quarterback. Oh, but we forget about the ones that fell off track. What about that? 'Cause ain't no sunshine when they're gone. Boom, boom, boom. Y'all good? Turn to your neighbors. Tell them, I'm happy to see you. I'm glad you're here. We're glad you're here. Say hello to somebody sitting next to you. Thank you guys so much for coming out. We're so happy you are alive and well and in the building. Thank you all so much. Let's take a deep breath and let it out. I know that was kind of heavy. We're going to loosen it up just a little bit. So we here at DBR Lab, we're all about community, and we're so thankful that you're part of our community here tonight. But just being in the same space isn't enough, right? We've got to really commune with one another. And you walk by people every day, you go to work with people every day, you don't realize how much you actually have in common. So I want to see how much we in this room have in common. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a piece. And in this piece, I'm going to go through a series of things that I kind of am familiar with. But if you have any nostalgia or some familiarity or you remember anything in this piece that I say, I want you to make some noise, okay? Give me an example of what noise sounds like. Woo, turn it up, National Sawdust. We're going to do it one more time, all right? Give me an example of what noise sounds like. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all ready for your next piece? Let me hear you say, yeah. Here we go. Let's go back. 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 I remember back in the day when wearing fanny packs around your waist was okay. We had that Nokia phone and the covers would change. See, I remember when the girls used to wear baggy jeans. Y'all, we used to spend our weekends at the skating ring, and I remember playing hopscotch and double dutch. See, we was all buying candy because it didn't cost much. I remember now-a-laters and lemon heads, being scared to death because Freddy Krueger was in the waterbed. I remember chasing waterfalls with TLC. Back when TRL was still on MTV, I remember renting movies, y'all, that were VHS. You know when computers didn't move and they just stayed on your desk? I remember light-up sneakers and the wheels in the shoes. We was wearing them bubble jackets and them loud sound and jogging suits, and I remember It's a Different World and In Living Color. Don't tell nobody on the Wayans brothers like, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. I remember Martin Lawrence. Don't you know no good? Now don't you know no good? Back when Biggie and Tupac had us repping our hood. I love it when you call me Big Papa. And every single Mother's Day, y'all, we played Tupac's Dear Mama. I remember when they all thought that O.J. Simpson did it. But if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. I remember kickball in the cul-de-sac and movies like Lion King, which we will never forget, like Nasa Peña Mavanicio. I remember Bob Barker on The Price is Right, watching TGIF every Friday night. I remember Whitney Houston when she was in The Preacher's Wife. Y'all, this was way back before vegan was even a way of life. I remember Beanie Babies and Pokemon cards, telling ghost stories in a tent in the yard like, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. I remember Rugrats and Power Rangers. McGruff the crime dog, don't talk to strangers. I remember Ring Pops and Keenan and Kale. How we called a snitching preschooler tattletale. I remember Michael Jackson in Remember the Time. How we learned the Thriller dance just by pressing rewind. I remember playing Heads Up, 7 Up. Y'all remember how we had to double dare you because a dare wasn't enough. I remember playing tag and how people had cooties. Y'all, we couldn't hit the club, but the club was the movies. I remember every single girl had an easy bake oven. Every science class did volcanic eruptions. Do y'all remember Bill Nye the Science Guy? And if you wore tie-dye, you was also fly. I remember Mickey and Minnie and Donald and Goof, a few good men. You can't handle the truth like, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back.
What time is it? What time is it? What time is it? What time is it? Wicked, what time is it? Time. The indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, the present, and the frickin' future. Whose time do you? You either have too much on your hands, you're racing against it, or you're just flat out. I assure you, I am all of those things.
Have you ever had one of those experiences where your life flashed before your eyes and it made you question everything? That just happened to me. Let me explain. It all started this morning in a waiting room.
Wow, you're late.
I know I'm late, but at least I'm here.
I see you've missed your last 3 appointments?
True. Well, the first time, so my schedule's busy, you see. The only time to get my toes done was 2:45. Was getting picked up, hot date, 7 p.m. My toes were chipped up, not great, had to get in.
The second time?
The second time wasn't for me. I was running out the door, then got a text from Eileen. She was frantic, going through a crisis, you know. I couldn't leave my girl hanging when she's feeling that low.
And the third time?
I hear ya, don't want to get into it. It slipped my mind, I forgot and slept right through it. But hey, I'm here now, no need to dwell on the past. Let's get the show on the road. Sure, we'll get it done fast.
The nurse will be right with you. Time is on my side. Yes, it is.
How big is this thing? Can I get a small? It's like a frickin' moo-moo. I'm just glad this hospital gown doesn't open in the back. Let me take a selfie.
Ah, humans. So concerned with the popularity of their live broadcasts, they lose touch with the treasure that speeds by fast. Filter, Valencia. They got it so backwards. Why are they so concerned with the wrong things? Death's knocking on their door and they're ignoring the ring. Ding dong. They've got it so backwards. She's worried about, is the gown open in the back? Meanwhile, people living in shacks drinking brown water from the tap. She's got it so backwards. She's about to get an injection.
Wait, an injection?
She hates needles.
I hate needles.
This is much more serious than a selfie.
This just got real quick. The next thing I know, I'm being ushered to this cold room with this huge white round machine in front of me, with this tiny little cylinder running through the middle of it. Hold up a second. I'm supposed to fit in that thing? I mean, I haven't been to the gym in a while, but Ariana Grande would have trouble fitting into that. I'm just gonna keep my cool and listen to what this nurse has to say because there's gotta be something I'm missing. Oh, it's tight. Okay.
Breathe in.
All right, here we go.
Hold your breath, please.
Have you ever really listened to the sounds of an MRI machine? It's loud. Pulsing. I wonder what this machine is really doing to my body. I mean, at least it's got a beat to it. Maybe something I can get down to. Kind of takes me back like I'm a fresh kid in the 80s, going to a dope party. Like the machine is taking over my body, and I'm popping and locking. It's also boring. Maybe I should just try and go to sleep. Yeah, you know, count the beats like sheep. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. I'm 12 years old and I'm at the National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. That's right, and I'm not even nerdy, just smart. But here I am, surrounded by 49 of the nerdiest kids I've ever seen in my entire life. I got my brand new dress, matching choker, and I'm feeling confident. Well, actually, I kind of don't feel good. Between you and me, when I woke up this morning, my stomach hurts bad. I'm really hot and kind of dizzy. But I'm shaking it off, and I'm gonna win this thing. I already got my first word right. Newscaster. I mean, come on, newscaster, give me something challenging. Man, it's taking a long time to get back to me. I really don't feel good. I wonder if anyone can tell. Keep it together, Katie. These kids are dropping like flies, and it's almost your turn again. Okay, here we go. Can you repeat the word, please? Can you use the word in a sentence, please? And what is the root of the word? Can you use it in a sentence, please? Oh. Okay. Claustrophobia. Clasterphobia. Claustrophobia. Next thing I know, I'm being rushed to the hospital, prepped for surgery. Appendicitis, surgery, but I'm only 12. How does a 12-year-old get appendicitis? Did I do something to deserve this? Count backwards. Okay. 99, 98, 96. I'm scared. What if I don't wake up? 95, 94, 93, 92, 91.
Back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore, but some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. Damn! Talk about taking you back. Do you remember when you were a kid? The world was a new adventure. You were full of life, and nothing could stop you. I'm all the way up. But when you're young, time is only as far as you can see it. And she, well, she couldn't see past the weekend. She couldn't see that at some point, she was going to wish her parents were there to boss her around some more. Sometimes we look into the past with regret, or into the future with fear. And sometimes we close our eyes to avoid seeing what's right in front of us. You wish you could go back. Back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again.
My mother used to sing me that song. She said the lyrics came from God, divinely inspired just for me. I sing it when I'm scared, when I'm nervous, when I want to remember her. I imagine singing it to my own daughter someday, if I have a daughter. Mom, always so full of life. Songs sprung from her lips. Love leapt from her chest. Joy should have been her middle name. She taught me how to fish, and not just in water, to smell roses while using a hedge of protection, to love unconditionally even when it hurt. I miss her. In a moment, life changed. Her body failed her even as her kind-hearted spirit fought on. Sometimes I just couldn't watch. It was easier just to close my eyes.
They didn't lose her all at once. They lost her by inches.
MRI days were the worst. Was the scan clean? Did it come back? Seems like it was always bad news. And now, here I am, stuck in the same machine. Chandelier Yamini Ami Aki Kiori Yamini Ami Aki Adi Ikiori Yamini Ami Aki Kiori Yamini Ami Aki.
Good evening, Brooklyn. How are you? Good. I'm glad to hear it. My name is Rellian. I am an LGBTQIA+ activist, a very, very queer man, a musician in the forms of a multi-instrumentalist, producer, songwriter, composer, DJ, etc., etc., etc. Now, given my demeanor, you might not know that I came from a very, very small town called Courtenay, Idaho. It's very conservative, and it's been a very long journey all the way here to New York to perform for you today, standing on this stage and saying, I'm a very, very, very queer man. I just finished producing my debut album. It is called I Am Not Sorry, because I am just that. Tonight, I'm going to perform a track from that album. I like to consider it as the eye of the storm of my record. I'm going to get it queued up for you because I am also a DJ, as you know. In this recording, I have the incredible vocals of my dear friend, Rellian. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this is Spirit. Once upon a time, I didn't act this way. Once upon a time, I was afraid to say anything to the effect of who I knew I was. I didn't know what would happen. I was silent because once upon a time, my persona was a lie. Once upon a time, I couldn't look myself in the eye, but I was helpless, confused, lost, and terrified, and I did what I did because I was trying to survive. For so many years, I was kept up at night, haunted by the idea that my mind wasn't right, feeling shit all my life that I had to lock up out of sight, all in the name of some strange elusive God's holy light. I can't count the number of times that I just wanted to quit, to throw out my life with some grandiose fuck it, but somehow through the agony I managed to see it. Beneath the fear and the lies rested my spirit. I rarely ask for help. I'm an independent guy, growing up kept to myself, and I didn't even try reaching out, opening up, or letting someone else in. I was so afraid of losing everybody if I did. I hid from everything I was, right down to my voice. I beat that gay lisp right out of me. I didn't think I had a choice. Once I got out on my own, I saw a different side of the world, and the greatest thing I've known was feeling my truth unfurl. In my youth, I didn't have the chance to go my own way, but now that I've grown, I've the strength to stand and say that I'm not sorry for this makeup. I'm not sorry for these nails, and I'm not sorry for whatever the fuck you think it might entail. It's been no real cakewalk to get to where I am, and after coming all this way, the one thing I understand is no one's path in life is easy. We've all gotta go far, but no matter what, never apologize for who you are.
I am not sorry, I'll never be sorry, never feel sorry to be what you are. I am not sorry.
Once upon a time, I was afraid to say anything to the effect of who I knew I was. I didn't know what would happen, so I was silent. This one's for the young man crying in his room, Google searching suicide, thinking someday soon, imagining everybody around him and thinking it through, that he somehow might not be loved if they found out the truth, with his crazy web of lies so nobody has to see how terrified he is instead of a kid carefree. But he shouldn't be afraid, it's fucking bullshit if he has to be, and I swear to whatever God that I'll fight for him to the last of me. Who he is inside shouldn't be a source of pain. If he feels inherently wrong, he's got nothing to gain, cause I know fear of who you are is so dark and grim, and somewhere throughout all that pain, I just wish that I could tell him that you're beautiful, you're worth it as good as everybody else, and there's nothing more empowering than embracing yourself. You are a special gift, and please understand that if your people don't see that, you escape them when you can. I promise you won't always be a scared little kid. Just know there's another side and you can make it if I did. There's a special kind of magic somewhere deep inside of you. It's your spirit and it's beautiful. Maybe fabulous too.
I am not sorry.
Don't be afraid.
Never feel sorry.
Love is love.
I am not sorry.
Let your flag fly. Show us your spirit. Please give it up for Rellian on the track. Please. Be brave. You are not alone.
Good evening. My name is Malena Grosz. I'm 33 years old. And the world is a different place from when I was growing up. The world is a different place from when I graduated high school 15 years ago. If you think about it, LGBTQIA+ communities did not have nearly as much support, understanding, or advocacy. Women's rights has taken a giant leap forward, and part of that is due to the Me Too movement, a hashtag that inspired one of the largest international marches in all of human history. And Black Lives Matter demanded your attention, demanded that you listen to the discrimination that has been prevalent for far too long. These are social movements that started at a grassroots level. These are social movements that started in gathering spaces, from getting people to come together. But you know, there's one aspect of community organization and social movements that doesn't get a lot of respect or attention, and that is our nightlife and our party cultures, our party communities, the places where people come together to celebrate, to connect. And these movements that we're talking about start in these places, but gain momentum through the digital spaces. And I am here to share with you that I think it's time for some social change to happen in our party spaces. I think it's time for us to create the movements, to create the party scenes that we want to see, because it's important. I love to party. Daniel, do you love to party? How about all of you? Do you like to party? Yes. You know, partying is important. It's good for our souls, you know? Like, I love just getting people together. When you're going to see some music, you know that everybody is there to see that same music. And you are just gonna jive to the same rhythm. And everyone is just gonna dress up, show their fashion, show their costumes. Maybe there's a theme. I love that. And there's parties that incorporate every different art form into one space. You know, you get visual art and performance and fashion and music all in the same place. But when I talk about party culture, there's a stigma. It can be a trigger for some people because there's a lot of bad things that happen. You know, there's a lot of bad headlines about college binge drinking culture and hazing and rape. These things happen. But there's also a lot of good things that happen. And if we can support and build on the good things, we can create more of that. And in our communities, we can create positive change through just getting people together and creating the kinds of healthy party spaces that we want to experience. So I've dedicated 3 years of my graduate program to studying party culture, and I'm fascinated by the sociology and the history of these places, and I'm fascinated by the cities and how each city has its own flavor and a different way of expressing themselves. So I've been going to a lot of parties. I've been meeting a lot of people and just experiencing these beautiful communities in different parts of the country and thinking, what can I do to help these communities? What can I do to help create the social change that I want to see? I've been developing the Party Pro Toolkit. This is a website, a resource that includes podcast stories and interviews with party professionals from Detroit, New York, and Phoenix. It will also include templates, how-to guides. This is actually a shared source that is going to continue to build information to empower communities so that grassroots, DIY, the underground scene can build better, healthier, more inclusive social spaces in their party scenes. And I started with Phoenix because I love Arizona. I've been in Arizona for 15 years. And I want to share the amazing things happening in my desert metropolis and the whole state. I also want to share with you about Detroit, this city that represents the rise and the fall of the American dream. But you know what has never failed Detroit? Music, art, creation. Detroit has such a strong level of communal accountability. Some of their venues don't even need to have security. And then we've got New York, the most iconic party city in the world. I mean, this is where a lot of party professionalism is born. I got the chance to talk with Ariel Palitz, the New York City nightlife mayor. It's incredible that we have a nightlife mayor. And I got to speak with Kay Burke of House of Yes, one of the most immersive, performative, inclusive, and consent-forward music venues in the city. I also got to talk to Soul Summit. These guys have been producing a free event in Fort Greene Park every summer, multiple events throughout the summer, that quickly built from a couple hundred to 1,000 to 7,000 to 10,000 people. And I want to share these stories with you. And I want you to contribute to what you know, what your communities know. Who should I be talking to? What resources do you have? This is just the beginning. So when you came in, there's a few stickers at the front if you'd like to take one. It's thepartyprotoolkit.com, and it's a passion project of mine, and I'd really love to share it with you and for you to be involved. Thank you.
So, yeah. That's gonna it. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Wow. Okay. So, anyway. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, yeah. Anyway, so, well, and, okay. Oh no, my. Okay, so yeah. Okay. So yeah. Oh, good gracious, yes. So yeah.
I miss my mother. No, she's not dead. I just miss her. She lives in Lisbon. Not Lisbon, Portugal. Lisbon, North Dakota. It was just her and me growing up. She was quite young when I was born, so people often thought we were siblings. We even had the same haircut for a while. Not that we were best friends, or that she was a good cook, or even that she gave very good advice. But she listened. And she really trusted me. Now I feel like I spend most of my time trying to convince other people how much they can trust me. Nobody deserves that much trust. Except maybe Bradley Cooper. So yeah, I mean, I miss that.
za ba 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 boom 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 you da da do 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 do. Let's go back. 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 Yeah, yeah. Back. Woo ba boo. Let's go back. Yeah, yeah. Da ba ba za ba boo ba boo ba ba. Yeah, 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 yeah. Back. Ooh. Back in the day. Ooh, let's go back. Ooh, let's go back in the day. Woo ba boo ba boo boo boo. Let's go back. Hey, ba ba da ba da no. Let's go back. Yeah. Do ooh da 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 da. Ooh, let's go back. Yeah. Ooh, say back in the day. 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 Back, yeah, yeah. Say back, y'all. Say back in the day. Back in the day, yeah, 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 yeah. Back in the day. Say back in the day. I'm not a kid anymore. I wanna grow up, but I sure can't know. Hey, ooh, back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. We're going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day, I'm not a kid anymore. No. Back in the day. Back in the day, not a kid anymore. I go back in the day. 10, say 9, say 8, 7, 6, say 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Say back in the day. Hey, yeah. Oh, no. Woo, come on. Hey, back in the day. Say 10, 9, come on, 8, 7, 6, say 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go back in the day. Back in the day, I'm not a kid anymore. I ain't growing up now. Woo. Back in the day, not a kid anymore. I ain't growing up now. Woo. Da-da-da-da, ooh. Woo. Do-do. No, do-do. Oh, da-da-da-da-da. No, say back in the day, not a kid anymore, and I won't grow up. No.
Okay, how you feeling? I want to welcome Courtenay to the stage. Courtenay, you here? Yes, give a hand to Courtenay, please. One of the most important people here at National Sawdust. Yes. And we're going to have a conversation.
Yes.
With you and I. And
Yes.
hey, give a
all
hand
of
to DBR Lab one more time. We've got Jedd, Rellian. Yes. Saza and Weezy. Lady Caress. Malena. Rachel. Jordan Klitzke. Adele, Etheridge, Woodson. I'm Daniel. All right.
Hi. Yes, so
Hello.
I am not Paula.
No.
I'm Courtenay Casey, the executive director here. Unfortunately, Paula is feeling ill and she couldn't make it, but it was amazing, and congratulations to all y'all. It was a really fantastic performance and really lovely to have all of your spirit and energy here at National Sawdust. So thank you so very much. It was such a joy. Really
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having
Thank
us.
you.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Of course.
So we've got about 10 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe, to, I think we can maybe even dive into questions, comments. Thank you for being here, by the way. What's your name? What's your name? Come here, I want to hear your name. What's your name?
Leia.
Ooh, Leia. Leia, who's this?
Papa.
Oh, nice. Papa, thank you for bringing Leia. And really, yes, you had my attention. You had my attention, you know, because I'm thinking about my son, our children. They're not just children, right? They're our children. Brooklyn, New York, United States, the world. So you're the future, so thank you for being here. That's a big deal, yes. Audiences have impact. Okay. But did you have any questions, anything on your mind? Yes, go ahead. Yes, I'll repeat for everybody. I'm just going to paraphrase. So he's saying, seems like everyone's piece had some reference to childhood or past or history. Was that done with an intention? Yes. Anyone want to answer? Go ahead, Jordan. Sarah, Saza. We'll get to. Oh, Malena.
Sure. So we've all been developing these pieces over the last school year, and it's absolutely just synchronistic kismet that themes like this emerged. So thank you for noticing.
I can't say too much different than that, but basically we didn't even realize the theme was coming together until we were rehearsing together. And we're like, oh, there's kind of a theme here. But yeah, many of us have been developing these pieces over a long period of time, so they just happen to come together like that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's happenstance. Although I will say I feel like we've all worked with Daniel, or DBR, whatever you want to call him. And I feel like he does have a, whether it's conscious or subconscious, an influence on like what inspires us, because his energy is in the room, and sort of certain things I've caught on to inspire him as well. And I feel like there might be a little bit of that.
Yes, I think, I mean, as a Haitian American composer, I can't help but tell stories. You know, it's part of my culture. My mother, my father, I'm still telling their stories in a lot of ways. I've worked with great storytellers like Bill T. Jones, right? Like Savion Glover, like Carl Hancock's Rux, Jeffrey Ziegler even, right? So there's a story to this building even, right? This space.
Yes, there is a story. But actually, I have a question. Can I ask another question? What I thought was very interesting is you started off talking about the room that your mother was in, and then I felt like we were a little bit in a church experience as well. And then a lot of the folks here were opening up the room to the concert experience. So I was curious if this is something y'all talk about in your DBR lab about the concert experience. How, I mean, the fact that we're being so engaging with the public audience is not something that's normally done at National. We try at National Sawdust to be very intimate. It's one of the best things we have is that we're this really small space and it sounds great, so we don't have to create, you know, illusions that we're in a concert hall. But you really consciously said, let's break down the barriers and let's actually find the audience. And I was wondering if that was something you also worked with, if that was conscious, or something that you guys are also just kind of bringing to the fore as the younger generation of creators right now.
This is such a good question. And so, anyone want to answer this? Adele? No, Caress? Go ahead, Caress.
Yeah, no, I want to say I think that for us, well, for me specifically, I do spoken word poetry a lot with a mix of music, as you guys can see tonight. But I find that intimate venues, for one, are better for that. It's better received in that way when you don't have as many distractions and people can truly and actually connect. The ability for a performer to actually look in the eyes of the audience is something that, we don't have often. We always have this fourth wall up and we're like, don't connect. But in that connection, you actually really get to see that realism, and between that is where the audience and the performer really make a true connection and where impact actually happens. And I think when we work with DBR, he's so good at that. Immediately from when he walks in the room, he's like, well, just feel the room. I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? And he's like going and he's like, as he's building that thing, we're like, okay, yeah, so the room makes me feel like this. Okay, and that's what that sounds like. And I think that's always been a part of the culture, with us, and even all the performances that we do, we're always engaging the community. And like Malena talked about, it's always about that community engagement. So that's always been something in our work.
I mean, she summed it up pretty well, but I grew up in the classical orchestra, and so there was a major barrier between us, and so I never grew up having this. So I'm very thankful to have a community where we can talk to our audience, because the audience is a part of the experience that we wanted originally, right? This show couldn't happen without you. So that's really the most important part.
No, I think it's something that I also teach a class at the New School here in New York, and I can see some wonderful violinists right here. Vivek, I'm going to point him out. Yes, he is. And we're engaged in a class called Artists as Activists, where we're literally talking about this. And I don't know. I am trying to bring my history and my race and my culture and the things that I value most to what I call my violin. Not the violin, it's my violin. There's a difference. Ownership, definition, right? To be a composer is one thing. To be a black Haitian American composer is something very different. Not just for me, but for her, for you, right? So more than just preaching, I think it is about intimacy. And architecture does have a lot to do with it. My good friend Peter is here. I'm not going to point out everybody because that's not fair. But, it is not an easy thing to do in certain rooms, I've been at Carnegie Hall. That's a very different space. Maybe not as intimate. And of course, then the question is still about race and gender. When I step out onto that stage, not only who's been there before me, Stravinsky to the Beatles, right? To Ella, right? To who are building the spaces that we are supposed to create in, right? So there's vulnerability all around. There's about 4 more minutes. What else should we talk? Oh, questions, yes. Okay, we're gonna give 30-minute rounds, yes. 30-second rounds.
So in Don't Hold Your Breath and in some other pieces, and as we had just mentioned here, narrative plays a different and important role in all different pieces. I was wondering in particularly what if you could maybe elaborate a little bit on time and narrative that you seem to explore in your piece.
Sure. So this was just a little excerpt from an evening-length work. It actually started as an ensemble show. We have a full ensemble show with it, our dance company, Epic. And Weezy and I are now developing it into a 2-person show. So in that show, he plays the part of time, and he kind of takes us throughout the journey as she is going through her mind. She's going back in time into her memories of her past, visions of her future, things that she's feeling presently in the machine. And you can see throughout the whole show that her perspective starts to change. She starts with this total attitude and doesn't care, and then by the time you get to the end of the show, she is having this huge encounter and trying to figure out what's really, really important in your life. So his character is obviously very important. He's gonna kind of narrate, but also bring kind of the reality to the situation, kind of telling us how it is and how we should be thinking. You know what I'm saying? Who else wants to talk about that?
I just want to say to Caress that because of my work, I was on the set of the waterfall video, which I know that it's been voted or whatever it is, one of the greatest videos.
Absolutely.
no, it was great. I mean, we said, what is this going to be? It's going to be great. It's going to be. We had no idea it was going to be voted one of the top.
Mhm.
But you could tell even as they were working on it, on the Paramount lot. They have a pool, and it was all really done right there.
Beautiful.
And, it was anyway one of the great communication experiences.
Awesome. See, and we all have that in common. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
And it is, tonight's being recorded, right? We lost one of her. We lost one of the members.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what's left? Photographs, memories. Great Kristen Lodewin is here taking photographs. We last worked together about 22 years ago, taking pictures on the Lower East Side, graffiti, all this stuff, gone. So that's where art and architecture is so important. The total work of artists. Amy on lights. Shazir on sound? Sharif on sound. Yes, got a few more minutes. Yes. You should always have a question. You should always have a comment. No, maybe one more. Something burning. Oh, wow. Yes.
So what next for?
Oh, great. What a great question to end on. Oh, what next? Well, tomorrow we have a meeting at 11 a.m. And I'm going to present to the group. Well, just real quick, because you might not know. So we are engaged as contributors at Arizona State University. I don't like the word student. That's very 1997. We're all contributors to a classroom of ideas. Okay, so I'm there in a particular role as an institute professor. Some are there conventionally as students, contributors. Some are there conventionally as alumni, contributors. We're all equal. And I love it. If you just looked at us on the street, you don't know who's who. Isn't that great? I'm the oldest. I'm 48. Okay? So what's next is the what do you call it? The BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal. I just learned this. Okay? So you should always have a big, hairy, audacious goal. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about literally what is next. And isn't that wonderful? That young people, some as young as 21 years old, yeah, right, I hear you, are on this stage doing their thing fearlessly. What's the first thing that you sing? The words. Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, in your piece, what's the first thing you say?
Sing out.
Yeah, sing out.
Sing for the world.
Sing out, sing for the world.
Won't you raise up your hands to the sky?
Ooh, right? Isn't that, if you have doubts about the next generation and what is coming next, I don't know about you, but as a 48-year-old man who is responsible for the DNA of a 9-year-old boy who's half black, half white, half Jewish, half Haitian, right? If you are worried like I am about the world seeming to be on fire, threats everywhere, I won't get too into it because I want to end on what I think is a positive note. I look at these young people, and I rest well at night. I'm inspired. The fires and the walls burning outside are in their heart and soul, rising up. At Arizona State University, we're referred to as the Sun Devils. But really, these are earth angels who have come down to lift us up. You dig? And I'll end on this. I'll just say, yeah, backstage, it took me by surprise. One of our members took us into a circle, and she had us do prayer together. And I didn't even know how to respond because I'm so far removed in some ways from God, in some ways from my mother that I talk about, right? That's probably a Catholic guilt. But more than that, I look at these young people, I hear their work, I listen to their song. I know that the future is the future is exciting. And I have no matter what you hear, right? I'll end on this. Every year I come up with something to say to myself and my son. When politicians fail us, artists have always led the way. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night.